From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LALATE, live from Santa Monica with your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Late last night, the incredible details unfolded as a government shutdown was averted. As reported first on this channel, a debt ceiling limit hatched late last night. That means there will be no government shutdown today. Meantime, huge exciting details as your $3.5 trillion recon passes the House. In the House subcommittee on a Saturday night, they passed your $3.5 trillion package. Cluster number 1 passed, cluster number 2 passed, and cluster number 3 passed. In this recording, we'll go over those checks and all the incredible details in this recording. But guess what? The excitement's unfolding in a breaking news report this morning on this show right now. The president had secret meetings last night with Pelosi, Schumer, and those come after meetings with Jalopal as well, which signals the president's on board to protect your recon and has given a, quote, wink to the progressives to vote down the roads and bridges today. Oh my goodness, this is like I've never seen anything before. In this recording, I'll go over all the incredible breaking news happening minutes ago as the president had a big meeting with Pelosi, Schumer to protect your recon. As the progressives are ready to vote down the roads and bridges today, all 60 plus of them, as the moderate Democrats made not one but 3 strategic errors in the last 24 hours, isolating themselves against the president, Pelosi, and also Schumer and the Democrats in the House. And everyone is protecting your recon. Meantime, minutes ago, Donnie's wife being told by Schumer's office he's putting in an IRS monthly stimulus check in there as well. I have all the incredible details, including that insertion of a monthly stimulus check from nearly a dozen viewers, a dozen legislators to 1,000 viewers this channel. It starts right now on Mornings LALATE. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a beautiful day across the land. Last evening, the House and Senate came to an agreement that they'll pass the debt ceiling limit. So that vote will happen today. The debt ceiling limit is now done. No one's benefits will lapse. But the other exciting details are breaking news minutes ago as the vote is set to happen today for the roads and bridges, and it's going to go down and fail. And the president reportedly wants it to fail. The progressives are protecting your recon. So is the president. So is Pelosi. So is Schumer. And this is after Saturday's passage of the recon, a $3.5 trillion of checks for you. Cluster number 1 passed. Cluster number 2 passed. And cluster number 3 passed. Meantime, after 1,000 viewers have been told from this channel that there's inclusion of a monthly stimulus check in there, this week, the confirmations continue as Continue Advocacy passes from Schumer, AOC, Jalopal, and Omar's office call confirming to the viewers of this channel the IRS monthly stimulus check is going in there as well. All these incredible details and more in an extended broadcast. We'll be covering third stimulus and also fifth stimulus, and this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. On Saturday, the House passed your $3.5 trillion recon. No broadcast channel covered the news. No print media, no YouTube channel. No one covered the news. Then, since Monday, there have been no less than 3 meetings a day going over nuances of changing the recon, changing the roads and bridges. No one's been covering this except myself and one print media. This is why you need to watch this channel, and this is why America is watching LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, next stop 1 million. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay with me throughout the day because the news cycle will change throughout the day. I'm back with you at 11 a.m. noontime, then a brand new show at 3 o'clock afternoons, and 5 o'clock evenings LALATE will have the latest update likely after the vote down of the roads and bridges. Let's cut first to the exciting details on a Saturday night. As your $3.5 trillion recon passes, cluster number 1's checks passed, 2 checks, and 3 passed. It's important to remember the recon is all checks for you. seniors, workers, individuals, and has nothing to do with the pandemic. Let's turn first to cluster number one. This is hazard pay, seniors' money, children's money, $51,000 of MSC, home repairs, grants for college students, bikes, cars, and trucks. Starting first with hazard pay. They got it in there, yes, lifetime, by taking an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit, broadening the eligibility, and increasing the amount of money. A big success for the viewership of this channel and myself, as this channel was the biggest place for advocacy for hazard pay in 2020 with no less than 500 videos. Then, up to $4,000 a year to care for the elderly got in there. Yes, this is a huge one. And on the flip side, up to $4,000 a year to care for a young child. Home repairs got in there. If you live in a low-income community, they'll have money in there to repair the home. Then they got money in there for college students, grants to the university, to the students, and also the Pell Grant, tax-free. And $51,000 of MSC, monthly or multiple stimulus checks, got in there. This is the CTC credit, which got expanded lifetime with a modification late Saturday night, broadening the eligibility. So now parents that are not biological get coverage for this as well. How much does it pay? A lot. Up to $300 a month. This is for a family that is low income. So for every month, every year, up to 18 years per child, that's up to $300 a month or $51,000. They got in their money for cars, trucks, and bikes, all electric, all U.S. auto manufacturer. First, up to 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike. Then up to $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Personal use, a little bit more for business use. Then also a little bit more for a truck for business use. Wow. In a second, we're going to go to cluster number 2's checks, 3's checks, and those IRS monthly stimulus checks being added in there. But first, here's a detour to third stimulus for just a blink of an eye. Your Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, was very smart. In concern that there may be a government shutdown, no longer the case, she sent out the final $13 billion to your cities and counties and states for rent about a week ago, and they got it in there. The Treasury is happy to provide state and local governments with these additional resources for Americans in time of need. I'll be going over how to get that money later in this video. But let's get some more checks. Cluster number 2 checks passed in that recon vote on a Saturday night. Cluster number 2 checks are deliciousness, starting with paid family leave and paid medical leave. Family leave, you have to stay at home because your wife's pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay at home because your son broke his leg. Up to $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year, split in half. That's $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year. Split in half again, $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. Then they got other checks in there, which are absolutely deliciousness. Nearly 12 of them. They got checks in there for childcare programs, household tax credits, checks for seniors, like dental, vision, and hearing. More about that in the third cluster coming up in a second. And then checks for weatherizing your home. Definitely needed, especially if there's bad weather coming, aka the moderate Democrats. Then they got universal pre-kindergarten in there, free pre-kindergarten, and tuition-free community college across the country. This is great for people who want to take that new foreign language class called Los Angeles. If you want to be fluent in Los Angeles, the new foreign language, because they just really talk strange out there, strange dialect. I don't understand what they say. Every sentence has kale salad in it. You can now take that foreign language class. There we go. And in a second, we'll be going to the third cluster of checks. But what's Congress doing? Congress is really, really changing the news cycle by the hour. Late last night, the President of the United States had a meeting with Pelosi, Schumer, and also, and early in the day, had meetings with the moderate Democrats. The President's meeting with Pelosi, Schumer, confirmed, one, that the President wants to protect your recon. Number two, that he is giving a wink of the eye to the progressives to vote down the roads and bridges today. Number three, that the president is not happy with the moderate Democrats because he met with them 3 times the day before. And every time he said to them, what do you think about my recon? Excuse me, I don't hear you. What do you think about I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you speak up? They didn't say anything. They didn't answer him. He didn't like that. And guess what happened yesterday? The moderate Democrats pissed off Pelosi about the debt ceiling limit, even though it was about to pass. Yeah, why would you go to the mat on something that's about to pass? Pissed off the progressives by calling them a fringe part of the Democratic Party. They're such fringe, there's 60 of them about to vote down your roads and bridges today. Would not answer the president. And guess what they also did? They issued a beautiful news article late last night that angered the progressives so much that Jalapal today says, you know what? We don't have 60 people voting down your roads and bridges now. We'll probably have 100. Wow. And guess who also came out to defend your roads and your recon? Can you believe it? I think I'm wearing blue on this occasion. The Teal Monster. The Teal Monster came out to protect your recon yesterday as well. Oh, it's a good day. It's a really good day. That's why I'm wearing muddle blue. No, it's not muddle blue. It's not even teal. But, it's a really good day. And that's on top of Schumer's office telling Donnie's wife he's inserting a stimulus check in there for IRS. Oh boy, we're not even getting started. We're just getting started in this video. Let's cut to the third cluster of checks. They got them in there. These are the president's checks, passed on Saturday. These are checks of all incredible magnitudes, like free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks. More about those dramatics from the president and everyone else coming up late in this video in just a second. Then we also have checks for workers, like independent contractors, checks for seniors, like dental, vision, and hearing care. Two of these checks in this third cluster the president particularly likes. I love them because they're automatic savings to you. Number one, cheaper prescription medication. You go in a pharmacy today, pay for a prescription, two $20 bills you take out of your wallet. They pass this law, you go back and refill the prescription, you only have to potentially take out one $20 bill, keeping a $20 bill in your wallet. The second item that's really deliciousness is the incredible free internet. They're giving fortunes to cities, counties, and states, red, blue, poor, and rich states, cities, counties, to offer free internet. All you have to do is say, I want the username and password. The username is Goth Gang Go Away, and the password is Jolliball2044. There you go. That is the exciting details of the three clusters pass. But guess what? Over the last 8 weeks, 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told by no less than a dozen House and Senate Democrats that they're inserting a monthly IRS stimulus check provision in there. Well, the great news is that since the passage of that $3.5 trillion recon on Saturday, those Democrats, including Pelosi, who told viewers going into the weekend, have continued to confirm they're adding it still in there. This week, AOC, Omar, Pelosi, Sanders, and now Schumer's office, new on Mornings LA in this video right now, have also all confirmed again or reconfirmed the inclusion of that IRS stimulus check. Here's what you need to know, is that what they passed on Saturday is sort of like an envelope. It's not the actual piece of paper. It's not a bill, and that's what Pelosi said that night. She said, it's just sort of the working situation. I want you to add stuff in there. The president said the same thing on Saturday night. Since Saturday, Pelosi has said publicly, if you want to add stuff in there, tell me, add stuff in there. That's why I have a prop. Here's my prop. It's sort of like an envelope that says bill, but if you want to add stuff in there, you can add stuff in there. Guess who talked about adding stuff in there? Pelosi herself to viewers of this channel before Saturday. Guess who said that since then? The same Democrats. They all have the same verb tense, future tense, will be, is going to, adding in, amending. It's all future tense because this is what the Pelosi and the president said. You can add stuff in there. I want you to add stuff in there. Just tell me what you want to add in there. And that's what why Ron Wyden, Democrat, Senator, Progressive, said 2 days ago. I'm adding in, Ron Wyden said, extension of unemployment benefits. There are two places to add things in, on the House side and on the Senate side. The House side, it's added in by changes to that $3.5 trillion recon passed on Saturday. And that is what AOC, Omar, and Pelosi's office have told viewers of this channel, that they're adding it with an amendment to what was written in there. On the Senate side, they have a two-day vote-a-rama at the very end that senators could add stuff in there if it's not added on the House side. More about these incredible IRS stimulus checks coming up in a second. But in the second half of this video, we'll be going over the big details of those huge meetings. You're hearing them for the first time on Mornings LA right now. Those big meetings that happened last night about your recon. The meetings behind closed doors by the President, Pelosi, Schumer, the progressives, The shocking article by that moderate Democrat overnight, the shocking missteps by the moderate Democrats yesterday about the debt ceiling limit, which is now effectively done and finished. I'll go over about that more in a second. And the big surprise, as the progressives today may show, that the biggest winner of this week has been your recon. I'll have all those incredible details coming up in 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Mornings LA continues live from Santa Monica. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, live from Santa Monica, where the weather is beautiful. Hope the weather is good where you are. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from on this Mornings LA. Overnight, the debt ceiling limit situation resolved. The vote will happen today, and the debt ceiling is now resolved. The country will proceed as initially planned. I'll have more about that in a second. But the big surprise was a big meeting last night by Pelosi, the president, and Schumer, and the press secretary, the teal monster, coming out to protect your recon like you have never seen before. Today, a vote for the roads and bridges that will signal that the recon is really the core of what's at issue, not the roads and bridges, and that the presidency says that. The Speaker and the leadership of the Senate and House say that, and now we're going to get that message out loud and clear. We'll go over all the incredible details as anticipated for today with the vote, what you should see throughout the day, and then what's happening later today. We'll be cutting over briefly the third stimulus and also the fifth stimulus. It's a big morning, and there's a lot happening, and the news cycle is likely to be totally different in less than 2 hours from now at noontime. So with that, I want you to subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. There's a changing news cycle every hour on the hour. I'm next back with you live at noontime. That's a new show. And then I'm back with you at 3 o'clock with a brand new Afternoons LA, and then a major Evenings LA at 5 o'clock, which is likely after the vote on the roads and bridges. Let's go over all the dramatics that heated up last night, and those dramatics involved the president himself. Let me go over what was said and what this means for you, and it's all incredible details. First, there was a series of meetings late yesterday, and I'm going to go over all of them and bring you all the way up to the president, including the dramatics this morning. Number one, the president met with Pelosi and Schumer yesterday. Why? To discuss your recon, to ensure that the recon is protected. Pelosi's statement to the president is the following, that she will keep her promise, as she always will, as calling the vote on the roads and bridges, but that she basically reported to the president that the roads and bridges will fail. The president reportedly is delighted that the roads and bridges will fail. In fact, if you're not sure about the situation, you can pull the quotes yesterday from the teal monster. The press secretary was asked about the situation as well. What is the president doing here? The president understands that he needs to apply pressure where pressure is due to get your recon passed. And the way you apply the pressure is having the roads and bridges fail the vote today. In the month of July, 2 months ago, the moderate Democrats led by Gothenheim her and his followers, called the Goth Gang, met with Pelosi and made a demand to have the roads and bridges called for a vote. She made a promise that the vote would be today. She is upholding her promise, but she didn't promise it would pass. She said she would just call for a vote. What happened thereafter? The Goth Gang yesterday, and especially Gothenheim himself, went after everyone. They first attacked the progressives, saying they're a fringe group, a small group of people that aren't really in control of anything in the situation. Untrue. Number two, during a negotiation by Pelosi with the moderate Democrats about the debt ceiling limit, which was just about to be finished, the moderate Democrats pissed off Pelosi dramatically by not keeping a promise about the debt ceiling limit from 2 weeks earlier. This is what Pelosi said about those moderate Democrats. These moderate Democrats have all voted on this last week. So if they're concerned about how it may look in a TV advertisement, it's already in the TV advertisement. She was very angry. In fact, the article said that Pelosi tore into them for not keeping their promise about the debt ceiling limit. What happened by the end of last week was that your progressive senators started tearing into the moderate Democrats. Liz Warren, the voice of reason, came out and said, you know what? We had a deal about this 2 months ago. We're passing two bodies of legislation, roads and bridges and bipartisan. Why do you not remember your promise from 2 months ago? We made the promise. I was part of the meeting. We all made this promise. This is what Liz Warren said overnight. I hope to see our progressives in the House stand strong. Translation, I hope to see you vote down the roads and bridges today. They know there was a deal made over 2 months ago. This is what's going on. Then Bernie Sanders had a quote yesterday. He said, the roads and bridges, it's important, but it doesn't need to be done today. You can do it another day. Absolutely true. Not late yesterday, but the day before, which is now Tuesday, the president had 3 meetings with the moderate Democrats. During his meeting with the moderate Democrats, he said, what do you think about my recon? I'm so sorry, I don't hear you. Can you talk up? I can't hear you. Speak up. They didn't say anything. He continually asked them, what do you think about my recon? They said, just go past the roads and bridges. What do you think about my recon? Well, I need you to answer my question. They pissed off the president. You see a recurring theme here? The moderates pissed off the president by not answering about the recon. They went to the mat about the debt ceiling limit, which was resolved last night for reasons no one understands. Gothenheim trash talked the progressives. And then if that wasn't enough, yeah, if you're setting the place on fire, why not add a little bit more chaos? You know what else the moderate Democrats did last night? They published an article. And they basically said, you know what, this, that. Jalapal today said, thank you for publishing the article. I love you. Because guess what? I'm not going to have 60 people vote against your roads and bridges now. I'll have 100. That's actually what Jalapal's comment is today. This is why we're not voting for the roads and bridges until we get a reconciliation bill, referring to that article. After that statement, that article, we're probably going to have even more people voting no today. She's right. She's absolutely right. The House has a margin of 3 Democrats. So if 3 Democrats vote against the roads and bridges, it fails. Going into last weekend, they knew they had a majority to vote it down. Yesterday, they thought it was 60 progressives to vote it down. Now Jalapal's saying, we may have 100 to vote it down. That is huge. Now, what's also big about the equation is that for the first time, and I'm very, very happy for you to deliver this news, for the first time ever have I ever seen all the branches of governments protecting your recon, your money, at the same exact time. The president now giving a wink to the progressives to kill the roads and bridges today, to put pressure on the moderates to pass the recon. Number 2, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, whose closest friend is Ilhan Omar, progressive, who is telling viewers every single day she's inserting a stimulus check provision. Pelosi calling the vote, keeping her promise as a respectful speaker, but absolutely not giving any roads and bridges a passage across the board. Number 3, Chuck Schumer protecting you. And guess what? His office telling Donnie's wife yesterday he's inserting a monthly stimulus check in the IRS stimulus check in the recon. It's really, really good. More about this in a second and my impression of what I think is going to happen with the vote, but let's go right into that IRS monthly stimulus check. Yes, in this week, we have had Schumer's office, Sanders' office, AOC, Omar, and other Democratic offices just this week, since the passage of the $3.5 trillion recon, saying they are still, reiterating their position, they are still inserting an IRS monthly stimulus check in the recon. This is great news because your advocacy is working. The advocacy of this channel started 8 weeks ago. When I said pick up the phone and call your Democratic senators and advocate, and WR did. He picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons, that's C-O-O-N-S, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's oldest confidant, advocated for the inclusion of the stimulus check, and Coons' office said, yes, I'm putting it in there. 3 weeks ago, this channel started to ramp up with more exclusives, more breaking news on the hour by the hour. And at the time, I had one exclusive, that the House would vote first on the recon. That's now true. That the Senate would vote last on the recon. That's now true. That the House would actually write the recon legislation. That's also been confirmed as true. And that finally, Bernie Sanders is very important to this equation. Bernie Sanders is the guy who got the $3.5 trillion price tag. He is also the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. We have Senate Budget Committee and we have House Budget Committee. 3 weeks ago, Sanders said the following comment to Americans in a news article. Unlike prior Senate budget chairman, I like to get out amongst the people when doing a budget bill. I said, if you listen to those keywords, it sounds like he wants to hear from you. I said, pick up the phone and advocate to Sanders' office. 3 weeks ago, I said that. And Brother Joshua did, Lynn Glenn and Margaret did. And all of them, after advocating, got confirmation of the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check from Sanders' office, which also confirms the same to viewers of this channel this week as well. Let's go over what advocacy looks like. I'm going to show you a series of screen grabs from either on the comments in the live chat on this channel or by private message on social media. Here's what Margaret wrote. Honestly, I and the woman on the phone would start crying when I explained everything I've been through. Another viewer wrote the following. How am I supposed to have 10 surgeries since my husband's passing during the pandemic? How am I supposed to raise 2 teenage daughters? How am I supposed to do this on just SSDI and SSI? It's not enough. And that's what Brother Joshua did. He picked up the phone and advocated for himself, for you, for his church. He's a 2020 volunteer to the community page, getting people thousands of dollars, helping people. And now he's trying to help others, advocating for that stimulus provision to Sanders' office 3 weeks ago. And Sanders' office saying yes. There will be a stimulus check provision, IRS, monthly, $1,000 to $1,400, 3 to 6 months. But Sanders' office needs to hear your support. And that's where we open the floodgates. Starting with Donnie. You met Donnie's wife just a second ago. This was Donnie himself, picking up the phone and calling Bernie Sanders' office and advocating for the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check. Let's look and see what Donnie wrote after his call to Sanders' office. This is what Donnie wrote. If I can grab it here. Here it is right there. Donnie writes the following. I called Bernie Sanders and his secretary said they are doing a forced stimulus check. And this is what I need. My city needs it. I need to progress. I need it for my water. I need it for everything. I told her. And she said, okay, we're getting a forced stimulus check. Then Hurricane Tina, one of the oldest viewers of this channel, one of the original OGs of this channel since April of last year, picked up the phone and advocated to Sanders' office. This is what Tina wrote. I called Sanders' office. I got through, and they did say they're putting a fourth stimulus check in there. The comments kept on coming in, over 1,000 of them. Here is what Carolyn Smith wrote. I called Bernie Sanders' office, talked to his secretary, said we need it. People are losing their homes, what they got. She said she agrees, and Sanders is putting in there. Yaya picked up the phone and called and wrote this after her call to Ron Wyden's office. He's promising SS200 in there. Viewer after viewer kept on getting the same confirmation, and then we learned from Will the importance of making several calls. In one day, Will called Sanders, who confirmed the inclusion this week, Warren, who confirmed the inclusion this week, and Schumer, who confirmed it to Donnie's wife yesterday as well. This is several weeks ago, though. Will made this phone call, and he writes the following. All 3 of their secretaries confirmed. And as to Liz Warren, the senator said she wants to do $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Lorica writes the following. I called Bob Casey's office, talked to secretaries. They said, yes, they're in negotiations right now for the stimulus check provision. At that point, we had nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel getting the same confirmation from the same senators. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden, telling near 1,000 viewers of this channel there is an IRS stimulus check in there after they advocated. After they picked up and advocated for the inclusion, they got it. So I said, go over to the House members, AOC, Jalapal, Pelosi, Omar, advocate with them, and viewers started to do that as well. Here is what Janice did. I called everyone. I called Jalapal. They said, yes, fourth is going in there. Janice also called Omar's office and confirmed the same. AOC confirmed it to Paul. He writes, she assured me they're adding it to the bill, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. Then Mark, $51,000 mark, he picked a phone, called Pelosi's office before the passage on that Saturday, and Pelosi's office said, yes, they will be adding it. There will be a fourth for the amount, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and they're near done at negotiating it. It was at that point that it was very important to continue to push, and the advocacy continued down to the wire. As Omar's office confirmed, $1,000 the first month and $1,000 thereafter, writes Paul. Then Ida writes, Omar's office tells Ida they're putting in $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. Lynn Glenn called Jalapal's office. They said, yes, they're giving us monthly stimulus checks. That's what the face of advocacy looks like. But the face of advocacy doesn't stop there and cannot stop there. But let's understand where that brings us up to. What it brings us up to is the following, that all these Democratic House members and senators use forward future tense verbs. Will be, is going to, amending, because that's what Pelosi and the president said last Saturday. That's what they said earlier this week. That what was passed on Saturday, a $3.5 trillion recon, is sort of like an envelope. It's not the document itself, it's the envelope. And if you want to put other stuff in the envelope, you can. They specifically said, tell me what you want to put in there. We'll put it in there. And that's what Pelosi's office told Mark before the weekend. She'll be putting it in there. That's what Schumer's office told Donnie's wife overnight. We'll be putting it in there. You need to advocate, continue to advocate for the inclusion of that monthly stimulus check. All right, now let's cut over back to the developing details of what's happening right today, what happened last night, and what I think is going to happen tomorrow. It's important to understand that the news cycle is changing by the hour on the hour. So join me today at 11 a.m. We may have different details. And join me tonight at 3 and 5 o'clock, and certainly the 5 o'clock show. Here's where we are. Pelosi is upholding her promise to call the roads and bridges for a vote today in the House. The passage of the roads and bridges doesn't hurt you. The voting down of the roads and bridges doesn't hurt you. But the way it's working out at the moment is that it's starting to snowball, that if the roads and bridges goes down in flames in the dramatics that's anticipated, that will be a major, major win for your recon. Why? Because the president, Pelosi, Schumer, and the progressives of both the House and Senate have made very clear in the last 24 hours, both bills are important, but it's really the recon that is the most important. And the recon, it needs to be done now. And anyone who doesn't want to get on that book will go down in flames. And a vote down of 60 down votes on the roads and bridges by progressives is exactly what the president said he wants. It's exactly what the press secretary for the president says she wants. It's exactly what Pelosi wants, Schumer, Liz Warren, Bernie, and over 60 moderates, progressives in the House. Why? Because they're protecting your recon. They're not trying to hurt the roads and bridges. They're trying to protect your recon. By signaling the recon is the priority, we are the group in control, and that the moderates are not the group in control, and that the roads and bridges is not the priority. As Liz Warren said, there was an agreement to pass 2 bodies of legislation 2 months ago. Keep your promise. And you see that Pelosi is leading by example, keeping her promise to call the vote, but not keeping her promise to pass it. She made no promise to pass it. She made a promise to call the vote. The moderate Democrats in the last 24 hours continue to break promise after promise they make, signaling they don't really keep promises. Moderate Democrats promise to pass both roads and bridges and recon, not keeping that promise. Moderate Democrats promise to agree to raise the debt ceiling limit. Didn't keep that promise to Pelosi. It was a week-old promise. They didn't keep it for even 7 days. And that's making progressives, the president, and also Schumer and Pelosi apply pressure. Let's go over where we are right now. Number one, the debt ceiling limit, done. This will be called for a vote quickly, the debt ceiling limit, today in the Senate and today in the House, and it will be done. The government will not shut down. All your benefit checks come in on time. Social Security, SSI, SSDI, military benefits checks, federal employees, all your things will come on time. The federal government is not shutting down. Done. Over. We have to revisit two other subjects about this in a few weeks in mid-October and early December. But for now, it's done, no longer an issue. Recon and roads and bridges. The great news is that the Democrats have said, you want to add stuff in the recon, add stuff in the recon. The other great news is the protection of that money. Let's take a detour for just a second over to third stimulus, because I want you to get this money. And you want a new refrigerator? I think you do. Let's go over all the incredible details of this third stimulus money. With an additional $13 billion of cash infusion coming to city, counties, and states because of that money sent out from Treasury. But the nonprofits, oh boy, get ready for that. I'm going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, get a cell phone, pen, and paper ready because I want you to write down all this information. First, the rent has gone up 200%. Viewers have gotten 200% more in rent in the last 30 days. Members have gotten 300% more for utilities and 400% more for SNAP. All right, let's look at the money for rent. It was about a month ago, the members of this channel were getting $20,000 for rent on this channel. Guess what they're getting now? They're getting close to 40,000. These were the numbers a month ago. You met Mark, remember? He's $51,000 Mark. Well, guess what? The numbers for rent have now gone from this to 40,000 in a month. When we talk about utilities, the numbers have gone from this to now $15,000 for utilities. This is massive growth. As Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 for utility, a 300% growth in 30 days. Then when we talk about SNAP, the monies have gone up for that as well. From now here to $21,000 for Mark's brother-in-law. Even Lorraine, remember Lorraine, $105,000? For the first time I can report to you, Lorraine has been watching my videos and she hears me saying, go get more money because we're going into the winter months, go get more money. She got more money. She didn't stop at 105,000. That number's incorrect. She's gotten more money now because she watched my video. So let's go over all these incredible sums of money for you to get as well, starting right now. We're going to get some rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. Get that cell phone, pen, and paper ready. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. If one says no, reach out to the next one. Next, listen to the keywords I say in this video. And number 3, lean on the nonprofits. I'm going to cover them. All right, here are the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority, State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. Here again, there's 6 places. City Hall, City House Authority, County Hall, County House Authority, State Hall, and State House Authority. Next, if you're a member of this channel, which I hope you are, in the newsletter, which comes out nightly, it now includes the statement from Treasury. I want you to read that statement from Treasury so you know what the $13 billion is before you make the phone call. So when you call up, ask if they have it, because they will have it, 100% guaranteed. Everywhere will have it, but it won't be there forever. Ask to be on a waiting list, ask to be able to call back tomorrow to check when the money lands. Then the utility companies, if you got 5, contact all 5. And finally, the nonprofits. Do you want a new refrigerator? 2 viewers of this channel have gotten new refrigerators from this channel, from the nonprofits in the last 7 days. Yeah, it's happening. The nonprofits, who are they? Let me go over all the details. Here are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. The nonprofits pay for the same thing the federal government does, and then other items as well. But they also have totally different eligibility. They do pay for rent, utility, mortgage assistance, but with different eligibility. And then they also pay sometimes for small appliances. And then they also pay for things like clothing, homeless people into shelters, and even small appliances. 2 viewers getting refrigerators, 1 viewer getting a furnace and also a window fixed. And then 2 people reporting that St. Vincent de Paul has a quick turnaround time for the rent and also United Way. Here again, the 5 nonprofits featured in the newsletter: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Then the SNAP. I want you to get SNAP. It comes from the Department of Agriculture. And guess what? As we're just a day away from going in October, your benefits are raised up under SNAP lifetime automatically, an average of 25% nationwide. You don't have to do anything. Yes, there were 2 letters coming out. You may have gotten the first. Some viewers have now gotten the second. The second is the raise of your benefits up automatically starting October. So watch for that second letter. Then the unemployment benefits. Wow. First, they're going to raise your benefits. First, the unemployment benefits check back from your state and then the federal government. States are returning excess unemployment benefits due to computer error to you. Average payment is $2,000 to $5,000. And then the federal government is returning the money back to you that you paid taxes on the 2020 unemployment benefits in a tax return refund check. Average payment is about $1,200 to $2,000. You can track it on irs.gov 7% of the time. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it. And finally, if you're in the live chat and you haven't posted your sex story, please do. You inspire other people. If you haven't become a member, what are you doing? Membership link is under the video. Daily, it's important to become a member because daily I deliver to all members at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, via the YouTube alert system for members and the LALATE alert system, which is totally free, the membership newsletter. It has all the big money under first, second, and third stimulus for you to get. So viewers like Lorraine getting almost $110,000 from this channel, Mark $51,000, Johnny $80,000. I want you to get this big money. But I want you to make a promise to yourself. If you've gotten money before on this channel, I want you to get more money. If you haven't gotten money, I want you to get it. This is what I want you to do. I want you to get rent and utilities as far as you can into 2022. Yes, next year, because they may not repeat themselves under forced stimulus. Number two, I want you to lean on the nonprofits. To the extent that you're eligible, get as much money as you can from the nonprofits now because it's still late summer going into early fall. It's not that cold outside. The nonprofits are not getting that many phone calls at the moment. And that's why the quick turnaround times for approval. Don't wait to November when everyone's calling up for heating oil assistance on the bill. Call now when they're not getting a lot of calls. And with that, let's go back into the final items that you should anticipate as we go into noontime today. One, the debt ceiling limit done in a hatched deal late last night as predicted on Evenings LA yesterday. So the debt ceiling limit done. They're going to be calling that vote on the House and Senate. They're going to make the Thursday deadline. They'll revisit the subject matter in a few weeks from now. Number two, the infrastructure, roads and bridges going for a vote, may be voted by the time of noontime, maybe shortly thereafter. We're going to watch the dramatics of that vote and see if it does fail. If it passes, it doesn't hurt us. But if it fails, and it fails miserably, it really helps us in our recon because it sends a very clear message that one, the president got his way. He applied pressure by saying, don't mess with the progressives, work as a team. We agreed to do two bills, not one bill. Number two, it shows the progressives are in control of the House. Number three, it shows that the moderate Democrats are not in control. Number four, it shows that the moderate Democrats cannot guide one legislation by itself. That there was an agreement, as Liz Warren said, 2 items across the board. And finally, it confirms that all the major players at issue, Schumer, Pelosi, and the president, and all those progressives who've vowed to protect your recon, who have told 1,000 viewers of this channel they're including a monthly stimulus check, would get their way. And remember, it's about 2 bills, not 1 bill. As we go into a noontime, let's remember that incredible quote that came in from one of the most important people in Congress, House Democrat Caucus Chair Hakeem Jeffries. Quoting my language on this channel, he said it's all about getting over the finish line with 2 bills, not 1. We're trying to figure out the pathway to get both of these very important bills over the finish line. And we will. I look forward to seeing you at noontime, so stay with me throughout the day. Coming up next is noontime at 11 a.m., then the 1 o'clock afternoon show, it's a throwback, and then the 3 o'clock afternoon show, brand new, and then the 5 o'clock evenings LA show, brand new. The evenings LA show is the final update of the day and would be after the infrastructure vote, but we may have that infrastructure vote by the time of noontime or while the noontime is airing. So stay with me. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Continue to advocate. Continue to advocate. I need the stimulus check. My family, my church, my community. Pick up the phone and advocate. We need to push as a family. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you next at 11 a.m.